meeting to order. This is a Thursday, November 21st, 2019, Livingston Parish Council Finance Committee meeting. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Garlinghouse.
Here.
Mr. King.
Here.
Mr. Mack.
Here.
Mr. R.
Here.
Item 3, old business. Nothing. All right. Item 4, new business. Ms. Jennifer.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
So tonight you have some of your normal documents, the check register detailing all of the checks that we've written since the last time we got together. Sales tax is still trending along perfectly. We have 9 months reflected here on the schedule. You can take a look at that. And then we are introducing tonight the final 2019 and projected 2020 budgets. The only thing different in here from the last time that I presented a draft to you is a few tweaks on grants for timing and the addition of the courthouse refinance that just got priced and dated today. So that's in there. We're going to save about $1 million on the courthouse debt by refinancing. So this budget document is what will be introduced. If at this point there are any changes, I will have to line item detail them out for you, because when we adopt the budget, it will say it's this budget that was presented or introduced with the changes of A, B, C, D, and E.
I just had a couple of questions. Is now the time to ask?
Sure. Yeah.
Fund 145, GL code 431000 and 433300, the federal and state grants.
Mm-hmm.
Is that guaranteed funds?
Yes. I will not ever put anything in those line items that's not been already obligated by the Fed or the state, which means they have secured the funds in our name and given us notice to proceed. It may be more than we're going to anticipate spending and receiving in this year, but I always want to obligate all of our funds if there are matching funds. So I'll put all of the revenue we're expecting and all of the expense that we're expecting, so that we never don't reflect what the end result is going to be. So anytime you look at the end of the fund and that fund balance, everything that we are obligated to spend is reflected in that number. That is the net leftover after, let's say all of our debts came due, not with the exception of debt service, of course, but all of our grants that we've agreed to match on. I put everything that we could possibly have to come up with, so that our ending number is a true net fund balance.
Okay, the second question I had, do we know specifically what those grants are for?
Yes, I do, but it's a huge spreadsheet. But I can email them to you. There's actually a combination. There's about 3 or 4 different spreadsheets that I use to plug those numbers in.
Okay.
But yes, I absolutely can tell you each line item.
Okay, so you'll email that?
Sure.
Appreciate you.
Mm-hmm.
Sheriff, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
No, you go for it.
Would it be possible to add master plan zoning and the 52,005 and the master plan drainage? Was it 150,000?
162.5 for the update of the master plan, and 125,000 for drainage master, parish-wide drainage master plan.
Would it be possible to add that to the
So if we do get to that point in 2020, we
Yes.
gotta spend it,
Absolutely.
and we're not trying to look to spend it, but if we get there.
Are you going to spend it before the end of this year?
No.
No.
Okay. So this will be a 2020 expenditure?
Yes.
So when you introduce, can they make additions on introduction, Ms. Sandy? Yeah, so when you introduce, just, we vote to introduce this ordinance with the additions of 62.5 for whatever it was you said, and 125 for the master drainage.
On DPW.
And that way it'll already be the proposed adoption. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that.
Anything else, guys?
Well, I've been getting some questions about the abandoned properties since the flood. I mean, we have hundreds of them left that haven't been taken care of. If we developed a separate fund to cover that sort of thing, I know we never, here's the problem, and you know what the problem is. If we go out and tear it down and we take control of something, tear it down, it costs the taxpayer to tear it down. Well, what people are asking me is, can we go and at least clear the property, not take care of the abandoned building, unless the people would want us to. You know, they can't afford it or whatever, and then you put a lien against the property, and then at the time it's set, you know how all that works. But if we had a fund inside DPW's fund where they could go out and clear the property so it's not a health and safety issue for the neighbors, I mean, I don't know what the price would need to be in that, but
You want me to respond honestly?
yes, because
Or diplomatically?
we get a whole bunch. No, I don't want no diplomatic stuff.
Okay, so honestly, there is no way to write an ordinance that is enforceable that's gonna solve your problem and not create extras, trust me. I've
Okay.
been tasked with trying to do it about a month ago, and there is, if you can decide what exactly the parish would do, where the funds would come
What would
from.
be this?
What would we do? Are we gonna go out and remove hazardous materials? Are we going to cut the grass? You know, how do you try to get your money back for doing so? If
Right.
the property's been abandoned, maybe the person isn't alive anymore, the children are not gonna open succession, you'll never get your money back.
Right.
And then at what point do we do it again? You know, if we do it the first time, we're now
Yeah.
responsible for
Right.
continuing to upkeep this property, you know. Honestly, my financial opinion is stay far away from that.
Okay.
I
but
know
we
that's
have to
not the
fix
popular
issue.
opinion when
That's
somebody
not-
lives beside a
but
blighted
That's not fixing the
area.
issue. So to fix the issue, so we're just gonna have to seize the property, take control of it, then we own it, and then it's okay to fix it.
If we can do so via non-payment of property tax.
Or some other way, whatever. I mean, that's what we're gonna look at.
Yeah, I
doing.
certainly don't recommend financially us assuming the responsibility because it's a
cleaning up.
never-ending responsibility
If
at
we
that
have
point.
thousands of adjudicated properties that we still own, that are on the books, that we have out there anyhow, so.
Correct, and I mean, I can't
We're trying
imagine
to
if
get rid
someone's
of
not
those.
getting this property, that,
Yeah.
you know, if someone could get this property that's just sitting out there abandoned, I'm assuming they would try to do
Somebody
so.
would,
Yeah,
yeah.
so,
Well, from what my daughter and my son-in-law are real estate attorneys, and they run across this all the time, is that people don't know what to do. You know, what do we do? Mom and dad died and they left us this, we paid property tax, but we can't keep it up, the house is falling in, what do we do? Well, I'm talking about stuff left over from the flood. And we all have them, every single district has some in it. And it's becoming an issue where it's pushing, in neighborhoods, it's pushing the fences in on the other properties and things like that. And I've been talking to Mr. Sam for 3 years, trying to get a how-to, what
Right.
steps are we gonna
Sam and
take?
I discussed it, and I mean, we got to the topic of who's qualified to even even if we
Determine
said
that.
it's a public safety issue, who is qualified to determine that this is an issue of public safety and not just an eyesore?
Right,
You know, how do you write the ordinance so that we only can do this for true public safety
Right,
reasons,
right.
and then who decides that?
so
You
if
know?
we did though, that would be the way we'd have to do a fund, right?
We would have to have a lot of brainstorming about how to write an ordinance that not only is fair and beneficial, but also enforceable.
Okay. So, and that's something we just have to work on. If we figure it out, then it wouldn't be a problem setting a separate fund aside to do that, is what I'm asking.
I don't think it's, I think there are a lot of other priorities ahead of that, but it's not, I'm not gonna say it's impossible. I'm saying I attempted it and I can't
Well, a
see.
lot of people in my area is putting it up there with drainage, well, you know how bad drainage is. And they're going, these dilapidated rundown properties since the flood are causing us problems. Can y'all fix it? Well, without an ordinance in place, we can't fix it, so we
I
have to
mean,
do the
you
ordinance.
would almost even, Mr. Keen, I don't know that you wouldn't have to get some title searching involved to make sure that even if you got permission from the homeowner or a
Make sure it
percentage
was them.
buy-in to
Yeah.
make, you know, like, I can just see a million ways that could go
Mm-hmm.
sideways.
Yeah, okay, well, that's one of the things, you know, going into 2020, I mean, this is our second 4 years.
But-
We gotta work on the things that are pressing.
And
to-
I
to
appreciate
people.
the discussion of how do we make something like this happen, absolutely.
Yeah,
But
instead of
let's,
trying
we
to
can
make
beat it to
happen,
death,
ain't right.
please, let's discuss
Yes,
it
ma'am,
because
I agree, thank you. That's a good thing. Shane? Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, Chairman, you want to say?
No, just to, just to, review that, we were gonna put how much in the budget, the 2020 budget?
I believe it was
Uh,
62.5 for the master plan
For the zoning,
update
yeah.
For the zoning.
and
then
125 for the drainage study.
a gravity
Did I say that
drainage
right?
Master plan.
Master plan drainage, okay.
Okay.
That's a good thing.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah. Gives us a starting point. Mr. Gerald. Yep. What else you got?
That's it.
I thought
Thank you.
If y'all have any questions,
we got, I'm gonna have
Email.
lots of questions.
Okay.
I'll call you. I'm sorry about.
we
the
have
late-
until, Miss Sandy, when will we adopt this?
At the next meeting,
The
December
fifth.
fifth.
December 5th, okay, so we have until December 5th to,
And we have to do
iron
it on the
anything out.
fifth, we can't do it the last meeting.
we have to do it on the 5th.
Yes, we have to.
All right.
I really just had one more question, I'm sorry.
No, no.
How much were we planning to put into the road overlay funds next year?
We're not. We haven't finished, I've only paid the second invoice, I believe, on the 8 million that we were supposed to spend in 19.
Yeah,
So we're gonna try to get a little further along. April or May, we will decide what we're gonna add. We'll also know by that time, where our grants are falling out, how fast we're moving, and see what our cash flow's looking like. It's a little bit too early right now for me to tell you that when we're finished spending this current $8 million contract, we're gonna add another $1.5 million or $2 million to it. Give me till about April or May, and then I'll be able to give you a better, we have this much money to add to our list and keep moving.
that brings up a point that I wanted to discuss. Could we move to, 2020 budget, this much money in the overlay fund being spent in that particular year on the projects that were supposed to be overlaid in that particular year? The reason I bring that up is because, I guess you could say James Chapel was on the 2018 overlay list, but it didn't get overlaid until 2019,
That's what she's
and
talking
and
about.
so that came out of the 2019 budget, or that came out of the 2018 budget?
No, sir, when I tell you that, so when I give the information from the budget to tell you that there was $8 million allocated in 18 and $8 million allocated in 19 for road work, I don't ever take that away. Cause the information that I give from my financial budget, we use that to sign contracts. So we got our engineer and bid that work out, and they did $7.573 million worth of contract on that list of roads, on that year's rolling list, whatever list that was. It took so long to finish all of those roads that it doesn't always line up in a calendar year. I wish it did, because the accounting would be way easier on me. But so we didn't get started. I don't think we even bid out the 19 work until like May. So once they bid it out and finish wrapping up and do all the punch list items on all the other roads and then remobilize, and I've only paid like 2 invoices for this current $8 million contract. So we are a little behind, and it never really stays in a calendar year, Well, I say behind, it might not even be behind, it's just the way asphalt work works, I guess.
I guess
So-
the biggest question is are the roads that are designated for 2020, are they gonna get overlaid in 2020?
I do not know the answer to that.
They're
Depends
already-
on-
yeah, They gotta redo the whole list every year.
Right, it's a rolling list, and our budget rolls also. So like I said, about April, I'll be able to tell you if we are going to have any money, or how much, if we are, to do a 2020 contract, let's say, because we have a lot of grants up in the air right now, a lot of matches coming down. I wanna see how fast they're gonna work, and we're gonna spend that match money. If we're not spending even, like I said, I earmarked all of those funds. So I have all of the funds earmarked for 19 and 20. If we don't work that fast, those funds become available. I'm never gonna spend current year money. I'm never gonna put us in a bind and spend current year revenue. So about April, I'll be able to better tell you, you for sure can have 1.5 million for this year. Or, I can't give you a definite on that right now. But we won't be finished spending our current contract by April anyway, I don't imagine.
No.
So
that
I
means
can't
gonna
give
be
you an
close.
answer, I'm
Another 3
sorry.
roads.
Hopefully, yes, hopefully,
My only statement to that is if it was me and I was approving the 2020 budget, I would like to see the 2020 overlay program, and the funds that was gonna be designated for that before I voted to approve it.
right. but I am conservative and I'm never gonna make you promises that I can't keep. So, and like I said, I've only paid the second invoice on the current contract, so in April, we're not gonna be finished with the current
They're not gonna
project.
be nowhere
And
near.
also think if, I'll just throw a number out there, you get $300,000, you might tie that up as a match, like an 80-20. So you got to top that 300,000 in hopes of getting, $1 million, something, work to be done. I'm assuming I'm right
Right.
on this. And if it doesn't go through, then you're back at your $300,000 as opposed, once you go for a grant, you have to take that money and pull it out and go, okay, this is my match. And if the grant goes, if you get the grant, then you get all the money. If you don't get it, you just get your 300,000 back.
Right.
So I understand what she's saying in the sense of how much do I have to spend? Well, I know I have this much, but I could have this much more if I get the grant. So, yeah.
And we have
I
some
get what
and we
you're
have some grants that have not been approved yet, so I have those matches tucked away in case we get approved, but, and I'm sure we may get approved, but you never know,
Is,
They may decide the state doesn't have the money to
They
match, or the
usually-
Fed doesn't have the money to
and
put up.
Glenn Taylor doesn't usually bring us like, they wouldn't bring us a 2020 list till March.
I'm not sure when they go out and
That's usually when it is,
reassess.
so they're gonna redo it first of the year, check everything again, go over them, come up with their list of what should be done first. We won't
Have-
know what the budget would that be
The
until
list
May,
doesn't roll till after the first
Yeah.
of the year.
so.
It's actually supposed to be, by the end of the year. Have y'all,
No,
y'all may wanna take a little formal action at the next meeting, just in case that, to adopt what we have current, if they've made any changes. Is that, didn't that auditor tell us that a couple years
well,
ago,
they did
maybe?
change some.
Y'all may
Yeah.
wanna take
Remember we
action and just
added,
vote that,
Bluebird or
the
whatever,
prior
or
year
whatever it
list
was.
plus anything y'all have motioned for change on it this year. Have Miss Sandy update a small list and y'all say this is our one for 19.
I think we did it.
Okay, just,
There
cause
was
I wanna
like
say
three
a couple of
that
years
the mayor
ago,
of Denham wanted to change one from something to something else, and then the one down by, on Walker South, we changed it instead of.
because that's one of the things the
But we
auditors
did-
ask for every year is all of the minutes to read about the road
One in
list, to
Livingston
make
that
sure
the
that we're
mayor
adopting
wanted.
it every
So,
year.
We got a week,
Yes, I added
2 weeks,
Let's wrap this up.
let's wrap that up and we'll work on that. Okay,
All right.
cool, thank you.
Anything else?
I think we're
Thank
good.
you, Jim. I need a motion to,
Motion.
motion by Mr. King,
second.
second by Mr. Mack. All in favor, say aye.
Give us about 5 minutes.